Are you curious about bodies, pleasure, and possibilities? And what about curious about what others are up to on the planet when it comes to pleasure, sex, and play? Have you considered what pleasure can do for your life, your body, and your bank account? Do you know something magical, delightful, and out-of-this-world orgasmic is not only possible for you, but totally available to you? If you're ready to be the magical, sexual, sexy beast you know you can be, and you just need the tools to get there, you're in the right place. Now, here's the host of The Pleasure Zone, sensual movement artist, relationship and sex alchemist, Milica Jelenic.
Welcome, my sweet pleasure seekers. Tonight we have a guest. We haven't had a guest in a while, and we have a guest tonight, and we're going to be talking about how to have it all in sex and life, because sex is actually part of life. I know, surprise, sex is part of life. It's actually how we get life. Surprise. We don't like to talk about it that much, do we? Because it's shy. It's a shy topic. So we will be talking about all that today. My questions to you listeners are, have you ever wondered if it's even possible to have it all in sex and life? Because you're like, well, I could have it all in sex, but the rest of my life, not so much. I could have it all in business, but I can't have it all in sex. I could have it all with my health. And you might just go exclusive. Like you're like, I can have it all in one, but not the other. So what if there's actually a way to have it all in sex and life? And today we're going to find out how that is with my guest, Grace Covington, who I found on Instagram. So it was kind of cool because I was like, whoa, we're actually using the same name for something. That's cool. Let's talk. So Grace is here because Grace has the brilliance of putting up the word The Pleasure Zone on one of her posts. And I freaking found it. And if you want to be brilliant like Grace and tag me in something or tag The Pleasure Zone, I will find you and I might actually invite you on my show. So I love it. That was awesome. And we're going to find out how to have this all from Grace, who actually facilitates entrepreneurs, creatives, coaches, and she creates this great coaching life of hers with all kinds of different things like energetics of creation using high vibe strategy, which allows your business to thrive with ease. And Grace has facilitated many women to go from zero to thriving in their business using a high vibe strategy that is centered around what I believe she wrote as pleasure principles. And around pleasure principles, like what you can have use pleasure principles, which I'm like, I like the terms pleasure principles. And the first thing, my curiosity, Grace, was what had you interested in creating coaching based on pleasure principles?
Oh, I love that question. So this idea was birthed from my own pain when I was working in corporate America and had no pleasure at all. Like I can remember so many jobs where I was falling asleep, hated what I was doing, and it just kind of took away like my energy. And I knew that there was a different possibility where, like when we began this conversation, is you can have it all and receive all of this pleasure while you are creating your life, while you're creating your business, while you are doing the dishes, while you are having sex, while you are out in the garden, while you are out naked. It is not exclusive to a specific task. It is an energy that's always available for you to play with and create with. So that's when I started experiencing this energy for myself. I was like, I wonder what it would look like if I started including these energies in business, if I started including these energies in sales conversations, if I started playing more like in the bedroom, like what would actually show up for me when I was fully immersed and committed to honoring these pleasure principles that are here for us.
I love
every
that.
single day.
I know I love that because it's so in line with how I feel about life too. And what essentially had me create a different life as well. So I'm curious from your perspective, what are some of the things that you would term as pleasure principles? Because we all have kind of a different take on pleasure. So I'm just curious what your take on pleasure principles are.
Yeah, so for me, it includes the space where you are not judging your body. So when you are in that space, you are receiving everything and you are actually getting turned on by everything around you. People are so afraid of being turned on. And I think culture, society has made it wrong to be too much. And so people start to turn down these energies, try to dim them down by maybe, using food, alcohol, or not being present in your body. So for me, all of this is activated in the space where you are not judging yourself, you are fully present in your body, and you're not making anything significant, like judging a certain energy as wrong or bad. You're just playing with it all and just allowing that energy to guide you and lead you into having more and more and more and more.
It's like you're my sister that I haven't met before.
Hey, we could be sisters,
True. So as you've been developing these pleasure principles in your life and utilizing them, what have you noticed as some of the things that have changed for you?
Oh my goodness. Like so many things, like money has changed, where it's not about this difficulty of creating money. It becomes a space where you have peace with money because you're receiving more, and then money starts showing up in all these different ways, and you create with ease. So it's not about creating with force where let's say you're on a sales call. I'm going to just bring, real practical terms that people use. And most people are always trying to follow the script and always trying to say the right words. But what if just by showing up and just by being in this space where you're not judging you, you're not trying to get something right, and you're just allowing yourself to show up and play with the energies there, you can start to tap into exactly what the person you are conversing with requires. And they start to get pulled in by the sound of your voice because you're being this space, this invitation to this whole other world that they have never experienced. And they're like, oh my God, my body's turned on. Like, yes, please sign me up for that offer. So it just moves you into this natural orgasmic space of creation, and it's not creating by force, it's not creating by difficulty. It's a space where you're truly showing up and receiving in that moment.
Yeah, so pleasure. So there was a book that was written years ago. I think it was the fellow's name was Hawkins. Hawkins, Power versus Force, right? This could be pleasure versus force.
Yes.
And so many ways that we've misidentified the idea of pleasure, that pleasure has to be something that's like almost like an aggressive act of seeking. And what if pleasure is not that at all? We look at it, when I think of this, and I think of it as in like the animal kingdom, we are in the animal kingdom, there's usually, one of the creatures is trying to put on a show for the other one to entice or seduce the mate to show up. And there is sort of an aggressive act of almost like a demanding presence for that partner to choose them. And maybe because we have a different way of being, we are animalistic still, but we do have a different way of perceiving things than animals do. That I wonder, can we do it differently? Like, can we approach things in a way that doesn't have to be so animalistic and so aggressive?
Yeah. I love that, because I think when, we define what masculine is and how you have to be in the world to be successful, it is all of these masculine qualities that you have to be tough, you have to be hard, you have to be forceful, and none of that is actually required. What is required is really being aware of these energies that are always with you and around you and creating them. And sometimes, yes, you do have to, be firm in your decisions. Sometimes you do have to command things, but you can still do that from a space of pleasure where it's not, it actually contributes rather than takes away from, that space, that conversation.
For sure. So I think there's such beauty in looking at how in conversations and in relationships with, we tend to relate with others and ourselves, just even wondering like what contribution can this conversation be? And even when I do like social media, which I don't put a lot of my own posts out, but when I go and I interact with people, I will literally stop first and ask, like, if I write this, is this going to be a contribution to their life, to my life? Because a lot of us right now, we're operating from a lot of unconsciousness and operating from a lot of fear and anger and resentments and all kinds of things. Sometimes just taking that like moment to ask, is this a contribution? So that the word to contribute to somebody or to be a contribution to me is such a key factor in pleasure. Because if you're contributing to people, you're going to receive pleasure from that act, and they're going to receive it as well. It's going to be a mutual, just your action of gifting it's going to give you that back. So there's some, I think there's some simplicity in that, and some super beauty in just looking at how we can be that.
Absolutely. And I love like where you are taking this. Like I even think about health, and I know like, during the times that we're in with COVID and everything, and really being in these energies, I really believe that it actually regenerates your cells and does so much for the body, because you're not in the space of fear and constriction and worry and judgment. You're in the space of flow, and just being willing to live your life in this way. I wonder, what that would create in terms of disease and changing things, like changing what is actually not working. Because if there is, I think I read, you've probably heard this before, like let's say there's a group of trees in a forest, and let's say one of those trees is not receiving water and the nutrition, and then all of the roots around that tree start to funnel what they have to that tree. And what if we can actually do that with our own cells? If there are cells that are not thriving, that are not doing well, but just based on the energy that you're being, based on this space of receiving and pleasure, what if that actually creates change in our body and brings us into the space of rejuvenation, takes us back to the fountain of youth that, that we can be with our bodies.
I love that. It totally reminds me of Avatar.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite movies.
Those roots, right? All those tendrils. And we do have those within us. We have all of that, not only our neurological system, but our even on a cellular level, we are all of our cells just interacting with each other. By having one cell that is, say for example, like a blood cell, if it becomes unhealthy, right, and it gets into more of less of an elliptical shape and more of like a flattened shape, so then the cells around it clump onto it, and the disease compounds, right? But once we create that one space for that one cell that might have been diseased, if you actually leave it and allow it to have space, it can regenerate itself. So to me, having that willingness to seek out where we can gift the energy that's going to create that big change, whether it's to feed those roots of the tree, which is really funny that you said that thing about the roots of the tree. I do these I do weekly readings for a group of people. And one of the readings this week was literally about the roots of the tree, and seeing where, for this person to look at their life as if it was a tree with the roots, and looking at the minerals that are required to sustain it. And so I thought it was very cool because I was working with that imagery today. And we often forget how deep it goes, like how how even if we do heal the trees, we heal ourselves. And if we allow the trees to heal us, it heals them. So it's so mutual.
Yes. Oh, you're definitely my sister.
I will like utilize trees all the time. Or if I have a forest, so I live in a forest in Canada. I'm surrounded by I have 45 acres and 35 of this
Oh my
forest.
goodness.
Yeah. So I get to go out and sometimes I'll see trees who are literally like calling me, right? And I was like, okay, I'll contribute to you. And sometimes the greatest gift is letting them receiving them. It's like sex to me, right? So like when you allow somebody to have sex with you, and you actually receive their body, it can be the greatest gift for them to have you allow that. So trees will do the same, nature's the same.
Nature does that a lot.
So I love that. We're going to talk more about this because it's fun.
Ooh,
so we're heading to our first commercial break, folks. You're listening to The Pleasure Zone here on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back after this commercial.
Are you secretly a voyeur, wondering what's going on in other people's sex lives? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual evolution? Are you interested in people who are pioneers of different sexual and pleasurable practices? Lean in now with Milica Jelenic, where she will entice you and your body to know your own pleasure zone. On the Pleasure Zone radio show with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is The Pleasure Zone with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email, info@milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, my sweet, sweet pleasure seekers. Tonight we are talking about how to have it all in sex, because this is the pleasure zone, and life. Again, it's the pleasure zone. So this topic is all juicy, and we're talking about how do you have it all. And if you missed the first segment of the show, Grace was giving us some tips and tools on things to look for in order to be able to have more pleasure in your life. And she, for her, realized what was going on in her life when she was working jobs that were just not working for her, and realizing that there is something else possible out there. For me, the big question is to always have that curiosity of looking for something that will gift you something, anything, whether it's pleasure or joy or whatever it is you're looking for. And we did talk a little bit about how the lack of that can create issues and problems and disease in bodies and even in your life. You can have disease in your finances as well. People don't often think of it as a disease, but the word dis-ease to me is just the broken up word of dis and ease. It's just the lack of ease. So if you're having, if you think you're having disease in your body, sometimes you also got dis-ease in your finances. Sometimes you got dis-ease in your pleasure areas. And so we're talking about all of that and looking for different things that you can look for in your life to see, hey, maybe I'm not having the pleasure I thought I was having, or maybe I am having pleasure in some areas, but not other areas. So we're looking for this all-encompassing, how do we have it in every area, sex and life? And my curiosity, Grace, is for people who don't know if they're having pleasure or not, what are some things that you think they could look for so they could identify, am I having pleasure? Am I not having pleasure? I don't know.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And our bodies are always communicating with us. So if you start experiencing pain, I know for me, I start getting headaches, then I know that I'm either not fully present in my body, I'm not receiving, I'm not in that space of pleasure, or I actually do need to go and receive more pleasure. My body is always communicating and letting me know exactly what it requires. It could be a pain, or you feel agitated or anxiety. It shows up differently for every single person, but your body will let you know. The key is, are you listening? Do you listen? Or do you just override that and say, no, I have a headache, I'm going to go take an aspirin? And rather than looking at what does your body actually require in that moment, and do you give your body what it requires, or do you ignore it or abuse it or judge it? Like, we have this choice and this barometer that is always communicating with us and letting us know how to receive more pleasure.
Yes, to that. So we do have, our bodies are huge barometers, and they pick up information on so many levels, and they are constantly picking up that information and deciphering it and giving us feedback. So when I work with people a lot, when I'll say stuff like that to them too. I'm like, so just get you to have a little conversation with your body, see what your body's talking to you. And the one thing that I consistently get from a lot of people is, I don't know what my body is saying. I'm like, well, what are you experiencing, right? So I'd love to hear your information on that. Like, how do people know? So, for example, you get headaches. What are some things, like how can people kind of develop a rapport or a communication with their body, so they actually can have a consistency with knowing, what is my body saying?
Yes, it is definitely a muscle, because I think in our society, we are taken away from that. We are told to live our lives outside of our bodies, to experience life outside of our bodies. So it is a daily practice, and sometimes that can be just simply being present in your body, meditation, because then you start to become aware of, oh, there's a tingle in my toe. And then you start to perceive the energy when, like, let's say you put your feet on the ground and you're like, oh my God, this is like turning me on, just, connecting to the earth. And so the more you're present, whether if you're doing a meditation practice or just being still, laying down, on your bed, and just perceiving, starting to perceive, what are you perceiving? Like, what sensations do you perceive just laying down and being present? That allows you to start to be in tune with your body, because then you're aware of when a different energy comes in or when something is off. And to really cultivate that is practicing not judging your body, because then you're aware of everything. Because if you are focused on judgment, that is all you're going to see. Those are the only energies you're only going to perceive, because nothing else. You just have this tunnel vision. But when you let go of that and just be with your body will communicate. It will let you know. And so I know for me, I have created specific meditations that, because I realize a lot of women come into this space where, they may have been sexually abused, they may have disconnected from their body, and then just bringing that back to that space of honoring your body and healing. And then the space starts to open up for you and releasing that trauma that you experienced as a child, a teenager, or even as an adult. Because once you release that, that opens up the space for you to really connect with your body from a space of no judgment.
That is so beautiful. There is so much, or maybe I've just been noticing it, so much talk of trauma and giving coaching for trauma these days, and different modalities for releasing trauma. And I think it's incredible because 20 years ago, when I was looking for something to get trauma out of my body, it was rare, and I could find energy work here and there, but even then, things like Reiki were not that common, right? And now it's like everybody, and hey, even my dog was trained in Reiki. Like everybody does
something,
right? Like I think so. In the area I live in, I could probably tell you in the 10-kilometer range, there's probably 15 practitioners of different holistic modalities.
Wow, that's amazing. That is
and those
amazing.
are the ones I know of.
Wow.
So it's pretty wild, especially considering in a 10-kilometer range, there's probably only 40 houses. So
wow.
Yeah. So it's wild, and people, there are hubs in the world where people are kind of attracted to these things. And I happen to live in a part of Ontario in Canada that has, it's kind of, we call it like the Sedona of the North. It's kind of got these like things about it. We've got like high rich mineral content. We've got, I don't know, it's kind of witchy and wild and weird and you know, alien stuff going on. Like we got stuff happening here. So it's kind of fun, and it attracts like a very wide range of people. So we do have a lot of holistic healers, and so what I was saying is, like, it's amazing to me how available it is, and I love that it's so available and that you could, you know, just go anywhere and find this, and you can find so many different choices for releasing trauma. And it was not something that was prevalent years ago. So if you experience trauma, like, you know, 40, 50, 60 years ago, that trauma is still in you.
Yes.
The chances are you did not have a way for your body to release that unless you did some kind of wild magic in some shamanic ritual that you found somewhere in the 60s when you were having some hippie experience. But the chances are pretty low, right? So what are some things that you are aware of with that, like, because you brought up trauma, and I think trauma is such an important discussion with pleasure. Yes. Trauma, you can't have that pleasure.
Yeah, you can't. You really can't at all, because that is still the dominant energy that's taken over. And so what I've noticed with some of the women that have experienced trauma and know that, you know, they have to work through it, is this disconnection from not knowing who you are, like not even knowing how to create your life and how to choose. Like, you feel like you don't deserve to have the things that will truly turn you on. So those are the signs and symptoms that usually come with that trauma. Is I'm not good enough, I'm not valuable, I can't create the money that I require, or I can't create more than enough. So it shows up in different ways. Sometimes it is literally your bank account screaming. Sometimes it's your body where certain things start to show up, or you're not willing to be seen on video, like you shy away from that. You're always seeking validation from other people to prove that you are good enough. So it shows up in subtle ways, and sometimes it is pretty intense based on how much you've actually hidden and how much are you willing to expose and, you know, be vulnerable in that space and really release it from your body.
It's such an important thing, the releasing it from the body. A lot of people are aware of it, and some people are not aware of it, but when you become aware of it, then there's the piece of letting it go out of your body.
Yeah.
We have a commercial coming up, but I'm wondering, Grace.
Yeah.
Would it be ease for you? Would it be fun for you to take us through a meditation on that in the next segment? Because I'd love to do that with you.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm going to follow the energy of
Love
follow
it.
the energy on that and move into that space. Because yes, there could be women that show up that are struggling with that, and being able to really change that and know that it is a choice. You can change it just by saying and choosing it. It's that simple.
I love that. And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that we'll be able to get this as a clip for you so you can utilize that too.
Oh, perfect.
So
That would be.
I hope we can have it as a clip. I think we'll find a way. So everybody stay tuned, because I'd love for you to join us, whether you're a man or a woman, and if you experience trauma. That's wonderful that you showed up today, because what an opportunity that you get to have a chance to go through this releasing exercise, this meditation, this following the energy with Grace Covington when we come back from our commercial break. So you're listening to the Pleasure Zone here on Inspired Choices Network. Stay tuned and come back right with us after this break.
Yes.
Are you secretly a voyeur, wondering what's going on in other people's sex lives? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual evolution? Are you interested in people who are pioneers of different sexual and pleasurable practices? Lean in now with Milica Jelenic, where she will entice you and your body to know your own pleasure zone. On the Pleasure Zone radio show with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Interested in masturbating for money, copulating for consciousness, and pleasuring on purpose? 21 Days of Sexual Magicism with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic is an exploration of tools, processes, and actions that you can use to create more for your life, your body, your money inflows, and so much more. Graduated learning for all levels of interest. Learn at your own pace via video classes or join the yearly live class. Take a peek at www.milicajelenic.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Pleasure Zone with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email, info@MilicaJelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, my sweet pleasure seekers. Tonight we're speaking with Grace Covington all about how to have it all in sex and life, because they actually do go together. I don't know if you guys know this, but for those of you who are now listening, we just recently got on Audible. So you can find us there, along with 200 and something, I don't even know the numbers anymore, other locations. You can find us on like iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify, you name it. You will find us 225 locations. It's like every week I come on here to say how many locations, and thank goodness my friend and producer knows, because she's the one in charge of getting us all in all these locations, and it changes literally every week. So, Jay, how does it get any more fun than that? And ease for you guys out there listening to find us everywhere on every possible location that you can locate podcasts. So I'm very excited that that just showed up, because I know so many listeners listen to Audible these days, and it's great. So I'm very excited. I'd love, Grace, for you to share a little bit how the listeners can get a hold of you, as well, so that once they hear, the meditation / energy following that you're going to do for us, I'm sure they'll feel like super excited and would love to get a hold of you. So let them know.
Absolutely. Yes. So you can get a hold of me by going to my website, www.createwithease.com, all one word. And you can find me on Instagram as well. My handle is @createwithease. So real simple.
She's got a great Instagram, lots of stuff all the time. She's also lives on Instagram, so you're going to find lots of great info and insights on there. Guys. So, but connect with her because she'll have other things for you too. So, I'm excited and my body's ready to receive. Yes. So let's rock and roll, sister.
Let's do this. Let's really let go of any trauma, any abuse, anything that is no longer serving your body. So this exercise, if you are willing, I know we are sitting right now, but feel free to get completely naked and get to a space where you're either sitting, laying down. You can put your sweet feet on the ground. And just breathe in, take a nice deep breath in, exhale out, releasing anything that does not contribute to your body. And so as you are relaxing and becoming present in your body and your feet are on the ground, start to pull energy from the earth. The sweet earth that contributes to you every single day. The earth that is ready to acknowledge you for your brilliance, for your potency, for your beauty, for everything that you came to facilitate and change on this planet. Just allow that energy to move through your feet. And as that energy moves through your feet, let go of all of the judgments that you've ever had on your body. And everywhere where you have stored these judgments in your feet, release them. Release all the lies that people have told you about your feet, if they're too big, too ugly. Release all the pain that you have run away from. Allow the earth's healing energy to completely transform, change, and for you to completely release all of the pain that you have held onto. And as you are releasing, allow the earth's energy to play with you. Go back to that space where you knew that it is a gift to be alive, that it is a joy to be on this planet where you were playful, where you were naturally in the space of orgasm. Allow the earth's energy to remind you of those energies as those energies move along your legs, caressing you, turning your body on. And allow those energies to continue to turn your body on in ways that you have never allowed yourself to be so turned on. And as we come to your knees, we're going to allow the earth's energy to release, to cleanse, to detoxify all pain, all anger, all rage, everywhere where you were not acknowledged, everywhere where you were made wrong for being you, for being too much, for showing up in your brilliance. Allow the earth's energy to change all of that now. And as that energy moves through, take another deep breath in, exhale out, and notice how turned on your body is already becoming by you being present and being aware of these energies that contribute to you. And as the energy moves through your thighs, perceive that energy. What do you notice? What are you noticing? Is it a tingling sensation, a pain? Just channel that energy to where you may have pain in your body right now, if you have pain. And if you don't, and if you are turned on, receive even more, even more, even more, even more, even more. Now, as the energy moves through to your vagina, if you are a woman, your penis, if you are a man, or if you don't identify with female or male, to the space in your body that you are aware of, that I am speaking about. So allow that energy to move through your vagina, your penis, and just let it be. And everywhere where you've made your vagina wrong, everywhere where you have taken on other people's realities about how much pleasure you can receive, release that now. And everywhere where you were judged for being turned on, for desiring to be so orgasmic, and that was made wrong, release that now. And everywhere where you were abused, where your body was misused, penetrated in a way that did not contribute to you, release all of those energies now. And all of the lies that you have bought from this reality about what it means to have a vagina, what it means to have a penis, release all of those now. And allow the earth's healing energies to move through your uterus, your pelvis, your bladder, all of those internal organs. Receive. You can start to open your legs a little wider and allow that energy to just move through. All of the wrongness, if you've judged your vagina as too smelly, or the wrong pH, or your penis as too small, not big enough, release all of those lies now. And let's go a little bit deeper on a cellular, molecular level. Allow those healing energies to move through, to cleanse, to heal. And all that is required for you to receive is your choice. It is just your choice to release, to let go. On a count of 3, we're going to take any of the leftover remnants that may still be lingering from any past lifetime, from any dimension, childhood. We're going to take all of those energies, and at the count of 3, you are going to push them out, and they're going to completely dissipate, be destroyed, and never come back to you or your body or this reality again. 1, 2, 3. Release. And allow that energy to move through your stomach and change anything that is not working in your body. You have activated a powerful energy by you acknowledging the earth and acknowledging that you co-create with the earth, that you are contributed to. So even though I'm moving fast, the magic is already there. It doesn't turn off. It doesn't go away. Right now, as I'm speaking, it is working and healing and transforming everywhere where you are not willing to receive pleasure, everywhere where you've turned down your body. So allow that energy to move through your stomach, to cleanse, to heal, to bring you back to the space of playfulness. Playfulness, everywhere where you've forgotten to play. All of those molecules are being activated. Allow that energy to move through your chest, to cleanse your lungs, to completely open up your chest and cleanse, release, cleanse, release, moving into your throat chakra. And everywhere where you are not willing to show up as the gift of you, to show up in the potency of your voice, allow your throat chakra to open up even more, where you will now show up in the world not afraid, not apologizing, but in the beauty of your voice. The beauty of your voice heals the planet. It heals the birds. It heals the trees. It allows the flowers to grow, the bees to pollinate more, and the soil to come back to life. That is the power of your voice. And everywhere where you have suppressed the power of your voice, release. We move through the energy up through your head and up, out into the earth. And then allow a white energy to move from your feet all the way up through your head, where you begin to acknowledge that you are not alone and you will never be alone. Acknowledge your divine capacity and potency. And just be with this energy. Be in a space of gratitude for what you have received, what you've opened up, what you have released. And thank your body. Thank your body. Say, hey, body, thank you. You can even touch your face or wherever you feel your body, your hands are leading you. Hey, body, thank you for being on this planet. I am so grateful for you. And as we slowly come back, start to move your body a little bit, open your eyes, and come back into this space of truth. Thank you for that.
Thank you for gifting that to the listeners and to all of us.
Yeah.
I would like to, we're going to take a quick break so everybody can just bask in the energy of this.
Yeah.
And we'll be right back and we're going to be wrapping up the show. So come back after this and just have a little wrap up with us, and hope your body is receiving and enjoying the releases that just occurred and the changes that you're about to embark on. The Pleasure Zone here on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back after this commercial.
Are you secretly a voyeur, wondering what's going on in other people's sex lives? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual evolution? Are you interested in people who are pioneers of different sexual and pleasurable practices? Lean in now with Milica Jelenic, where she will entice you and your body to know your own pleasure zone. On the Pleasure Zone radio show with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for the Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Pleasure Zone with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email. info@MilicaJelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, my sweet pleasure seekers. I hope that you joined us for this entire show. If you're just jumping in now, please go back to the start and listen. We've had some really great insights about how to have more pleasure in your life and in your sex life. Because guess what? It's not actually different. It's all the same thing. And we've also talked about a few other things too, about trauma. And Grace took us through a beautiful meditation clearing for trauma, for those of you who want to go back and listen. It came after the second break. And this is key, and it's something that Grace mentioned too on the show. And I just want to reiterate that presence is really key and integral to pleasure. It's really hard to actually have your body receive pleasure when you're not there.
Yeah.
So are there any things you'd like to just kind of wrap up?
Yeah, absolutely. I know, like just perceiving the energy, like people are like, let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. So yes, let's talk about sex. So I get that there are a lot of people that don't experience the pleasure of sex. And something that you mentioned in the beginning, that when you are present with someone's body and in that space of the act of having sex, and if you are truly receiving you, they are invited into this space and it becomes this dynamic, explosive energy of creation that takes place. And many people miss out on these pleasures because I know, there's so many there's erectile dysfunction and, women not actually orgasm, where you have the capacity to have multiple orgasm, where you can just be turned on by life and still orgasm. That is how powerful our bodies are. So how do you receive that? How do you actually create that in your world? And it comes back to everything that we've been saying, like you have been saying, everything is connected. If you are judging yourself, you're not going to be receiving all of those energies. And if you are not willing to be vulnerable and really know what it is that turns you on, because sometimes we make certain things so wrong and we say that if I go there, then I'm bad, I'm evil. And those are the things that actually turn on your body. So being willing to,
We tend to do that, and we're almost at the end of the show.
Oh,
I want to thank you because I know it goes fast, right?
So fast.
It's wild. It's every Monday at 8. I'm like, what just happened to an hour of my life? It just disappeared into space. And that's kind of the space of presence, and that's the beauty of when you are truly present. Time is not relevant anymore. You don't really notice these things. There's usually just enjoy of embodiment, enjoy of choosing. And for those of you listening, we've always got a million great topics on the show, and there are over 350 podcasts available that you can find for free. Just go look for them under the Pleasure Zone, and thousands available on Inspired Choices Network. And if you would like to have a show like I have, just contact Inspired Choices Network, and you too can have a show. So thanks until next week. Stay tuned and turned on. And thanks, Grace, for coming on.
Thank you for listening to The Pleasure Zone with sensual movement artist Milica Jelenic. The Pleasure Zone returns next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.
Ah.